So there was a comment from a viewer that I thought was actually a very good discussion to have. It's about when I would in fact become bearish when it comes to ADA and Cardano. Is there a certain price point? What would it take for me to get there? And there's a lot actually to unpack in this comment, and we'll discuss this. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So right now, at the time of filming this video, ADA's at 57.36, and this was a comment from Growlblaw. What he said is, at what price are you going to be bearish? 20 cents? Surely you must be seriously considering that the run is over and it's down only for a year from now. Do you think ADA will recover next cycle, or will investors lose conviction and hope due to its awful performance? Who's going to buy ADA next cycle when it couldn't even hit its 2017 price in this bull market? I can see ADA going below 10 cents personally in 2026. So again, I appreciate the comments. Here's the big issue with this. So a lot of people are expecting us to go to bear market lows or potentially bear market lows when the fundamentals are not showing anything of the sort. All we have watched throughout this market cycle, let me back up for a moment, because understand that what 2025 has brought us has basically been a big ball of trash. It's been a garbage news cycle. There's been economic concerns. We've had 3 major black swan events, one of which was the, 7, 8 times larger than the largest event in history, which also took place this year. So this year has been absolute garbage for the most part. We made some progress, but very little progress. And yet, despite that, ADA is still sitting at 57.5 cents. And that's just only 3 weeks removed from the largest black swan event in crypto history. So the problem is people are expecting us to fall to bear market lows, despite this year just being absolute garbage, and the fundamentals showing the exact opposite. You know, he talks about, obviously, you know, people losing conviction and being disappointed with performance. Yeah, we're all disappointed with performance. And the big reason why is we haven't had new retail show up in this market cycle. We've been just sitting here waiting, twiddling our thumbs while all this other bigger, louder stuff is taking place. Now, here's the thing is, throughout this last year alone, actually, this is a good reference point, we've seen about 3 billion ADA removed from exchanges, meaning that very close to 10% of the supply, excuse me, that's more like 8%, but very close to 10% of the supply has been, excuse me, bought and removed from exchanges. You have the convicted people becoming even more convicted, accumulating more supply. ADA is one of the longest average held assets in the crypto market, and you could try to spin that whatever way you want, but it points towards major conviction. So the problem is now to get to, 20 cents or 10 cents, you're trying to make people who are unwilling to sell their bags. And simply, it's just not happening right now. Unfortunately, we've been pushed down due to leverage. Leverage is lightening in the crypto market. So it's actually opening up the door for some potential gains. And one thing I did want to point out that I had noticed, but I didn't get to talk about in my other video, is we're actually building a big inverse head and shoulders here when it comes to ADA. Very, very big one. So we could potentially be on the verge of some significant moves as we get into, again, the rest of this year. Not saying that's going to happen for sure, but just definitely something worth noting. But the thing is on a fundamental level, ADA is still strong. Most assets in the crypto market are showing a lot of strength right now. Price is, again, just the lagging metric. Now, here's the thing. When we talk about the Cardano ecosystem, that's something completely different. If we're still getting to the point in 2026 where we're having new users entering the space and we're not making up much ground in terms of ecosystem use, that's a big problem. That's a big red flag. If we're starting to actually see blockchain adoption, big partnerships from governments and enterprises, and I'm not talking about the piddly stuff that we've seen so far, which has been bits and pieces here and there. If Cardano is getting passed over for inferior blockchains during that stuff taking place, that's a big red flag. That's where I have a bit of skepticism flow in, and I'm a little bit more uncertain about what Cardano can do. But the thing is comparing Cardano and ADA to where they were at in the lows of 2023, it's very different now. The blockchain is much better constructed. It is more efficient. It is cheaper to use. It is more scalable and becoming more scalable than ever. There are more partnerships. There are more real world use cases, right? These are things that people think are just kind of a fart in the wind that are going to play no bearing on what Cardano can do in the future. And it's completely wrong. And let me talk about this last thing. The comment about who is going to buy ADA next cycle when it couldn't even hit its 2017 price in this bull market. All right, here's the thing, is smart, big investors, if you see progress in development and price has been the last thing to move, that's what they typically buy. Smart investors don't chase all-time highs. They don't chase these rip-roaring green candles. ADA, we could say, has been in the top 10 assets. It has not been up to par with many of the other performers, right? There have been times, for example, this last year, where it has outperformed many of those assets, which is a very good sign, but overall it has not performed up to par with those. That's not a detriment. That is opportunity. People confuse detriment and opportunity way too much. And that's where, again, Cardano has a huge opportunity for growth. One, because right now the users are lower, right? Because it doesn't have these major stablecoins. Well, hey, guess what? You get those things in the ecosystem. It's a big opportunity for Cardano to boom, right? So that's kind of my point here, is that we're at basically the worst of it, right? And yet ADA's still holding up. Cardano fundamentals remain strong. Development remains strong. Partnerships keep emerging all over the place, and people are negative. And that's the strangest thing to me. These are the times where it's all about opportunity. It's about taking advantage of opportunity, and people just continue to let it pass them by, and that's fine, right? But those are some of the things that I would need to see for me to actually get bearish on ADA, for when I would start to have questions. Right now, I think we're very well positioned. I think that, again, ADA can perform exceptionally well when retail actually starts to come to the market cycle. That's when it's historically happened. Hasn't been happening yet in the cycle, but we'll obviously see how the rest of this year looks, and then obviously on to 2026. But have a great day. Show your love below. Let me know your thoughts. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.